sometimes, again, it gets very lonely. It gets very hard. And you just need somebody to remind you that, like, yeah, it sucks. It's okay. There's the highs, there's the lows, and sometimes they come right after each other. And it's the whole, this is the best thing in the world. This is terrible. Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Entrepreneurship Simplified. My name is Keith, and I'm just coming to you today as just a solo episode, kind of talk about some things that I've been coaching people through recently. And these are all entrepreneurs like myself who, they have a small business and, they're just trying to make a living, right? Trying to make enough money to pay bills, send kids to college, all those fun things, right? And one thing that has been coming up over and over again during these conversations is like I guess the best way to put it is work-life balance. Like they get kind of just worn down and they're getting to the point where it's like, hey, I don't even know if I really like doing this anymore. I'm doing this because I have to, not because I like to, not because I enjoy it. And that's not to say that every day is enjoyable at work. It's definitely not for me. But being able to have an outlet, to have some way to kind of like recharge your batteries and get reinvigorated is extremely important for the entrepreneurship journey, in my opinion, because it can be a very, very lonely journey. It can be one where you feel like it's you against the world because your employees don't understand. If your spouse doesn't work with you, they likely don't understand either. Your clients definitely don't understand how much work goes into you supporting them, you taking care of whatever the good or service it is that you provide for them. But it's really hard to try to figure out a way to balance, hey, I have all this stuff I have to get done, and then also like having the energy and the want to be able to get that done. And for me, there's several ways that I do it. I have several friends, three of them have already been on the podcast as guests of mine that I call and bounce ideas off of, just talk to, just kind of basically talk about business. Like I love to talk about business with anybody just because it's fun for me. But to be able to talk to people who understand where I am, understand kind of what I'm doing, and be able to bounce ideas off them. Like, hey, is this a good idea? This is where I'm thinking about taking Yellowfin Digital. This is what I think I'm doing next. And being able to bounce those ideas off them and for them to be able to give valuable input into saying, hey, are you sure you want to do that? Because X, Y, and Z, or hey, I think that's a great idea, and here's why, and this is what this is how you could even make it better. And I think the ability to have somebody who you can do that with is there's no value that you can put on that, because I can walk away from a conversation talking to Doug or Neil or Duncan and be like, wow, okay, I'm about to go take over the world. I'm about to go crush this. And there's just something about that makes it so it's like, okay, yeah, not only am I recharged for today, but I've got a better idea of where we're going tomorrow, this week, next week, the next month, this year. And it's just, there's a piece that comes with that, right? There's just okay, man, all right, I can do this. I got this. Because sometimes, again, it gets very lonely. It gets very hard. And you just need somebody to remind you that, like, yeah, it sucks. It's okay. There's the highs, there's the lows, and sometimes they come right after each other. And it's the whole, this is the best thing in the world. This is terrible. Oh my gosh, we're never going to struggle again. I don't want to do this anymore. And, knowing that there's other people out there that struggle with it, one, is helpful, but two, knowing that you can go to them and get encouragement and get, just advice. And if nothing else, just have, somebody that's in your corner, that's your cheerleader, that's, cheering you on. There's a huge, huge, huge value to that. And again, a couple of clients I've been talking to recently, like I kind of needed to fill that role for them because they were stuck. They were banging their head against the wall. Like, why am I doing this? Is this even worth it? Sales are down. Should I just go out of business and go try to find a job? And after just talking to them for, 20 or 30 minutes, just reminding them of all the success that they've had in the past, reminding them of, hey, you used to do this. Have you thought about trying that again? You had very good success with that. And just kind of seeing their eyes open and go, oh, okay, yeah, no. And then them walking away from the conversation, feeling super recharged, ready to go, ready to fight the battles. One, I know it feels good for them, but also as the person who's cheering them on, who's helping them, like it feels good for you that, okay, like, and it kind of recharges my battery too, being able to help somebody else recharge their battery. And it's not to say that talking to other entrepreneurs is the only way to do that. If there is nobody in your life that can do that for you, then you got to find other outlets. Other outlets that have worked for me is just therapy, talking to my therapist about, I talked about personal things, but I also talked to her about work things. And she doesn't have a clue as far as the work goes, what I really do and how to help me. But just having um, somebody that is a good listener and you can just bounce things off of, and then get encouragement from that person that, yeah, hey, that, you should give that a try. Like, let's make a plan for you moving forward because, this sounds like it has some legs. And being able to just have someone who's just a really good listener and is not going to interrupt you and is going to support and encourage you in what you want to do, there's extreme value in that as well. And another thing that I've found is journaling. So I have a prayer journal that I journal in every day when I do my quiet time, my Bible study. But I'll also journal in that about a lot of work stuff as well, and like frustrations, concerns, and just being able to write that down, and then going back and looking at previous months, previous years, and seeing the success that's happened. To me, there's a big value in that. And I know journaling is not for everybody. I used to hate journaling because I couldn't, I got so used to typing that writing was very hard for me, because it actually hurt my hand. But I've got to the point where I'm able to journal. I can write for a really long time again, like back in school. But writing that stuff down, just getting it out of your head, like getting the kind of negative thoughts out on paper. For me, praying about it and saying, "Hey, God, take this from me. Give me some direction." And then being able to look back on that and seeing that I did have direction and that things did get better, and that, everything's not always, bad, and just being able to kind of get over that hump, get through the down part of being an entrepreneur. There's just huge value in that. So I guess I didn't really know what I was going to record today when I jumped on here, but I guess, this is a podcast about mental health. Like, hey, take care of yourself. Talk to your friends, talk to fellow entrepreneurs, talk to a therapist, journal, because it is a very, very hard road to do by yourself. And you can find yourself slipping into some, bad mental space if you're not taking care of yourself. And, go for a walk, work out. I don't work out nearly as much as I should, but when I do, I feel better. When I go for a walk, when it's not 8,000 degrees outside in South Texas, I feel better. When I'm able to go fishing and do something that I just like to do, it's just that mental release of, okay, and it helps reset the batteries. And as an entrepreneur, I'm very, very guilty of just focusing on work, focusing on my kids because they're so busy, and that's it, and not really putting a whole lot of attention on my mental space, my mental well-being. And I think it's really, really important. When you're first getting going, you have all the gumption, all the adrenaline of, hey, this is new, this is fun, this is exciting. And it's, after that wears off, kind of like a marriage. After the honeymoon wears off, it's not just about, rainbow and sunshines. It's a choice to love each other. It's a choice to, be married every single day. Well, it's a choice to be an entrepreneur every single day. After that honeymoon phase wears off, you have to choose to get up, put your boots on, get to work every single day. And it takes hard work and dedication, but you also have to make sure that you have some time for yourself, some time for your mental health. I cannot recommend this. These last 2 years, I've been taking a lot more time like that for myself, and it's made a world of difference for me, where I am now to where I was a couple of years ago. And it just, I used to not ask for advice, not because I don't know why I didn't. It's not that I was embarrassed, it's not that I didn't think people could give me advice. I just wouldn't do it. I don't know if I thought people wouldn't understand, or that, hey, that I do struggle in this area as well. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but freeing myself to, hey, ask that, and for me, a lot of that came from going to these mastermind groups and just, being honest with people. It's easy to go to a mastermind group and kind of everybody's not super honest with each other, but when you really get honest and start telling the truth, and then you find the people that are really good friends and you can connect with, and share the intimate details of, hey, this is where I'm struggling, how can I do better, how can you help me get out of this. There's a ton of value that comes from that. So again, I guess the moral of the story, the episode is, focus on your mental health. Take care of yourself, because this entrepreneur journey that you're on is a hard one. It's a long one. Hopefully, it's a very long one. And you need help. You need help along the way, and you need to take care of yourself, because without you being in a good mental space, it makes everything around you that much harder. So I encourage you, go talk to a friend, talk to a mentor, talk to a buddy that's an entrepreneur. Get into some therapy, journaling, whatever it takes. Go do your hobbies, whatever it takes to get you into a better mental spot. Work on that this week. Make that a focus for yourself for the rest of 2025. Just make your life better. Make things better for yourself personally and for your business. All right. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys next time. All right. That's a wrap for today's episode. Your next step, take what you've learned today and put it into action. Now, if this episode gave you something to think about, do me a favor and leave a review, or share it with someone you think needs to hear it. And if you have any thoughts, let's continue this discussion. You can find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Let's simplify entrepreneurship together. We'll see you on the next one.